This is a jar of quinoa. It contains 8 grams of protein per cup, and most people have no idea what to do with it. So we're going to show you today how to turn quinoa into these delicious quinoa brownies. And at the end of the video, we'll eat it to see if it tastes like quinoa or not. Quinoa brownies are the healthier version of your classic brownies that you can make in just about 30 minutes with 8 very basic ingredients. And cooking with quinoa is amazing because it's one of the best plant-based protein sources, in particular for vegans. It contains all the essential amino acids, the proteins that your body can't make, so it makes it a complete protein source. But quinoa can sometimes leave a bitter taste to your baking, so that's why we first rinse it thoroughly. We transfer it to a bowl and we're going to cover the quinoa with fresh tap water. Pour the water on top of the quinoa and we cover the bowl with a plate. We leave it on the bench top for about half an hour so it soaks. And now it's ready. So now Karin is going to drain it, get rid of all the water. We try to keep as much of the quinoa as possible, not put too much down the drain. It's not that easy. If you use a spoon, you make it much easier for you. And now let's prepare all the other ingredients. So you have your quinoa. We need 2 ripe bananas, some maple syrup, some fresh almond butter. And by the way, if you want the full printable recipe, there's a link in the description below. A little bit of plant-based milk. We use soy milk for this recipe. And some unsweetened cocoa powder. And to make the brownie raise, a little bit of baking powder. You scoop and level. And a little bit of vanilla extract for the taste. And of course, chocolate chips. And if you want the full list of ingredients, pause the video now. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we make a new upload. Now it's time to preheat the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. Okay, now we can prepare the blender. It's just a blender recipe, there's no complicated step. So we just pour all the ingredients into the blender, starting with the quinoa, the 2 very ripe bananas. And by the way, the bananas are what is going to give most of the sweetness to these brownies. So if you choose very ripe bananas, the brownies are going to be a bit sweeter. If you choose greener bananas, it's going to be far less sweet. So it's a great recipe to use your bananas that have been staying on your bench for a little bit too long. Now we're going to pour the maple syrup, the unsweetened cocoa powder, milk, the vanilla extract, and the almond butter. And finally, the baking powder. We are leaving the chocolate chip for after. So now we're going to blend the batter for about 30 seconds in the blender. And now we're going to prepare the pan. So you take an 8-inch square pan, put a little bit of spray of oil and press your parchment paper in a bit more oil so that the brownie doesn't stick. Pour the chocolate chip into the batter and incorporate the chips in the batter. We're going to pour the quinoa brownie batter into the prepared pan. Use a silicone spatula to take as much of the batter as possible from the jug. You can't get all of it, but that should be enough. Now just flatten the brownies so that they bake uniformly, and sprinkle the remaining chocolate chips on the top. Now your brownies are ready to go in the oven. Open the door, put them on the center rack for about 18 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. After just 18 minutes, we're checking the cooking. Put a skewer, check if there are any crumbs. There's none. The brownies are ready. So we're going to take them out of the oven. Transfer the pan to a wire rack. You don't need to let these brownies cool down in the pan, so you can transfer them immediately to a wire rack for full cooling. And if you use the pieces of parchment paper that are overhanging like this, it's super easy. Now just cut them into 16 squares. Look at that. Perfect brownies. Now we just add a pinch of salt on the top, and it's time for the tasting.
So now let's see if you can feel the quinoa in that brownie. Come try. Dis-moi ce que t'en penses. Ça sent le quinoa?
There's no quinoa in here.
And that's how you make quinoa brownies. We hope you liked the video. We'll catch you in the next one.